do when we have a child who's struggling with letter formation? I've taught hundreds of kids to read and write, including my own 2 boys, and I'm here today to share with you why letter tracing and practice isn't the answer and what to do instead. But before I continue, I want to encourage you to subscribe for all of the free resources that I offer on this channel that are grounded in research. Also, hit that like button if you find helpful information in this video. Help me get this message out to more families who are homeschooling, home educating, or just want to walk alongside their child and understand their learning journey. So, getting into what to do if you have a child struggling with letter formation. The first thing I want to encourage parents to do is to not panic. There is absolutely a range of development. We see generally that girls tend to develop a little faster in this area than boys because their fine motor skills develop a little bit faster and maybe hand-eye coordination skills. So that is something to keep in mind for sure. It doesn't necessarily mean that your child has a disability. There could be underlying things going on, and there are simple practice skills that you can do at home to help strengthen them in this area. The first thing I want you to think about is it a situation where your child needs to develop the small muscles in their hand? And something that you can do to encourage this development is squeezy stress balls. It's a great fidget item, but it's also excellent for developing and strengthening the muscles in those hands, those little hands. Also, thinking about any type of physical activity, climbing jungle gyms, pushing items, that builds strength in the arms and the core, which we don't often think of that connected to the writing task, but our children do need some stability in sitting and in their arm muscles to help them as well. So those are some things that you can do on the physical side to help them develop those skills. Number 2, if your child is continuing to have a challenge in this area, one thing to consider is to allow them to dictate sentences to you and for you to model writing them. And I know for a lot of families, they hesitate on this because they feel like, but they're not getting that practice writing. But what I want to encourage families to do and to remember is we don't want them to lose the development of paragraph formation and all of those skills while they work in an area that is challenging for them. So they can still be learning some of those important sentence structures, how to begin a paragraph, how to structure a paragraph. Even if they're dictating to you, they're still building that language, and that is absolutely essential to the writing task. That can be happening in parallel with the development of that fine motor coordination. The third thing I want to recommend, and it circles a little back to what I just talked about, but it is about focusing not only on the areas where your child needs to grow and where they're having challenges, to make sure that you're also focusing on their strengths. So we really want to make sure when we're educating our children that we give them the opportunity to shine in the areas that they're very good at the same time that we're focusing on their challenges. And all too often, and I understand this completely as an educator and as a parent, because we want the best for our kids and we worry about their success and their well-being. But it is very important that we remember that we can do both. We can work on their challenges at the same time that we can also focus on their strengths. So if they have a passion or a talent in a certain area, or they love a certain subject, let them shine in that area. Let them also focus a little bit on that as well to encourage and reinforce the fact that they have a lot to offer. And the last thing I want to encourage parents with that are perhaps facing this challenge, and this comes from a very personal place, as I I'm a homeschooling mom, and I have a son that's been diagnosed with dysgraphia. And so I've very personally walked through that. Just because a child is struggling with letter formation does not mean they have dysgraphia, but I can tell you that there are absolutely things that can be done to help them grow in this area regardless. And also remembering that there are accommodations such as being able to dictate. When I worked with my son, we would do interactive and shared pen writing, which means I might write some and let him have the pen a little bit to write a letter or two as he felt comfortable. We went into typing. Typing is a great option in this technological world. And those are absolutely things, especially when it comes to dictation, when it comes to typing, those are absolutely things that are allowed in even college settings as accommodations, because it's not changing the knowledge that we're asking children to learn and display. We're just giving them access to the learning while we're helping them grow in those areas. And so I can personally attest to the fact that my son took college classes as a high schooler and very successfully did that. And at that point, he did not need those accommodations, but they were offered to him. So that's a little encouragement to families who are struggling and may feel a sense of concern and worry. And so I just want to reach out, give you that encouragement, and I'll see you next time when I teach to your child's learning superpowers, one child at a time.